Two Canadians arrived in Haiti for humanitarian work just before the earthquake struck. Now they're safely home after a harrowing few days. But they can't stop thinking of all those people left behind. The National's videographer, Peter Wall, has their story.
We had a big bus that they had us in because there was 12 of us in our group. All of a sudden saw all this dust, and you know, your senses right away you don't exactly know how to process how you're feeling. So I stood up in the bus and we were rocking, and immediately things started to fall and people started to run and buildings beside us started to fall.
We were literally just being tossed around in the vehicle, and at first we thought it was the wind because, you know, you could see all the dust coming up, and then somebody in our vehicle was like, "It's an earthquake," and I was just like, holy crap.
You just can't imagine the things that you're seeing. And I mean, there was a man on the sidewalk right beside me on the sidewalk, dead. His head was crushed. And they had children that were dead on the street, and the cars were crushed with people in them, and there was rubble, and there was children stuck in the rubble, and it was just like being in a war zone. So the bus just wheeled around, and they opened the gates, and we all went through the bus. It was in the bus, and we all got out of the bus, and the ambassador's assistant was there, and he comes over to us and he puts out his hand and he said, "Welcome to Canada." And it was just, you know, I can't even describe what it felt like to actually walk through those gates. I was never so glad to be a Canadian, yet I had so much guilt to see all the people that were on the street. And all night they camped out. There was just hundreds of, well, not maybe hundreds, but a lot of people camped out in front of the gates of the embassy.
We had to stay where it was safe, and they wouldn't let us out, and it was so frustrating and just awful to hear the people and see the people waiting outside the gate and know that just because I'm Canadian, you know, I get this freedom, I get this security, I get to come home, I get clothes, and they have nothing. It's hard to rationalize, it's hard to understand. So.
Buildings were collapsing around us all night, and of course it got really late, and we were pumped with adrenaline. There's no way we could go to sleep. And these people were just, the sounds that they were making, they were mourning, they were probably finding their loved ones dead, and they were shrieking and they were screaming. And a couple of us girls walked down to the gate, and it was calm then. You know, it was like reality had set in, and they were sitting outside this gate with these traumatized looks on their face, all silent, looking at us behind the safety of this gate, and we're looking at them. And so I just went over and I stuck my hand out of the gate and just shook this man's hand, like, and he shook mine, and we just made this eye contact, like, it was just unbelievable.
The flight crew were fantastic. They let me go hang out in the cockpit for a while. I went and read my textbook up there, so that was pretty sweet. And it, you know, best of a crappy situation.
When we landed, we waited for them to turn the power off, and then of course it takes a while to get, you know, evacuated out of the Hercules. And so so I started, "Oh, Canada," and then she started with me, and so the two of them, and then all of a sudden the whole plane is just saying, "Oh, Canada." I was just so proud. And then there was many of us that were French speaking, and so after we did the English "Oh, Canada," the French broke out into the French "Oh, Canada," and it was just like, wow, it was just amazing.
I don't know, just remembering that, holy crap, I have a country that it matters enough that they'll come get me with a military plane, and they'll, you know, they'll get me home. So we live in an incredible country, and I'm so thankful.
Next on The National, we'll have your weather story, and you'll find out which country is tops in Texas.